Okay, we continue our journey. That's his MMR, ZVP. I think I'll be doing this uh, acrobacy or acrobatics till the end of the series. Okay. ULHF. So we play versus Protoss. First thing, of course, shift up tab to set our color to teal. And we're gonna go overpull as in every game versus Protoss in this series probably. Maybe sometimes I will go 12 hatch, but I would have to forget about putting down pull or something. Okay, so now Overlord. When you are learning still, like I am right now, for example, I still have to remind myself certain steps. It's good if you plan ahead. So always like internalize what you need next, should you build. So I know that pull is the next. Obviously it's the start of the game, so it's pretty easy to track. If you pull your pull right here, this drone gets a little bit better mining. So I advise to do that. I'm pretty sure I will forget about it myself sometimes, but this is just proper pull placement. Another drone. So we went up to 11. All you have to remember is to build 3 drones after the pull. And now we wait with our larva spendings, right? So we're gonna go for at least 4 links. So this is our F3. I can already set my F4 over here in case I need this location. So our next step is to figure out what the Protoss is going for, whether he's playing from main or from he's getting expansion. Still no scout, which is weird. Okay, he went 2 cannons. So we just immediately go back. I guess I could consider cancelling 2 links over here, but at the same time, I think that's kind of wasteful, right? Because you already used the larva. So, again, because he made a base, I will make my hatchery right now, in my 3rd base, on the location. This is the proper strategy you should go for. You should aspire to this. And I know it's hard because managing 3 bases is harder than managing 2 bases, and going for 2 base is viable, but that's what you should go for in the end. Like, that should be your strategy of choice. Okay, so now what I will do is I will chase this probe with one link, and the 1 link is going to my opponent's natural. Right now he's going back with this probe to the cannon, so I need to be careful. I probably also press shift over here. So I build this gas directly after this hatchery, that's important part, and now make your lair ASAP. Everything that you do from now has to be, pretty smooth. Or it doesn't really have to be, but you should practice it so it is. Because I'm pretty sure we can still make a lot of mistakes, of course, and still win this game. Go for the link. If you don't remember, like I said, hover, I see E, I press E. Spend your larva. I will go for Overlord here. Okay, another gateway. Very fast. Oh, okay, because he doesn't have one in his wall. Okay, I see. Okay, very early cannon. So as you can see, our opponent is already making mistake, right? He didn't know what I'm doing, so he assumed very fast mutas, but he didn't even check whether I have expansion over here. So that's a big mistake already, because now he's spending for cannons, which, it's not giving him anything. he should focus on growing economy and move forward his timing of attack. By going cannon over here, he's slowing himself in this game. We can build a lot of drones. Also remember now, this is the moment after we put down the spire to put more hatcheries down. And remember this positioning. So you want to put down this hatchery on the way so it can block zealots that would attack you right now. And the second hatchery we're gonna build over here. And now build more drones, and we need second gas. Okay. Where did this zealot come from? Okay, I'm blind. Probably I didn't see it on the minimap. Let's make a few more links, just to be safe. And now we go Hydra over here. And we go Evolution Chamber over here. Okay. He correctly positioned his zealot so he could kill the links. But now he's wounded, so we can only use 2 links to attack. Okay. Start mining gas. When this is finished, make up to 5 mutas. Why 5? Because 5 mutalisks can kill a probe in 1 hit. And by the way, I forgot. Okay, there is a cursor. I forgot an overlord, so I cannot make 5 mutas, 5th muta, but that's fine. I'm gonna go for this upgrade right now. So that's a little bit bad, of course, that we cannot make 5 mutas at once. That would be very useful to be able to do that. Okay, he started cannon. So I made a Muta micro video. I'm not sure if you already saw it. If not, then I strongly recommend to look at it, because I will be using a little bit of Muta micro in those episodes right now. So for example here, I will do some move micro. So move command, left click, right click. Move command, left click, right, and go back. You know, do a little bit of damage, poke a little bit, put pressure on your opponent, and that's it. You don't need to do much. I built another Mutalisk. So now our game state is that we have 2 feud rounds here because we should have 7. We have 2 feud here and too many here, right? But I don't think it's worth to necessarily send the drones to my natural end main. So we'll just 2 more drones. I will just build them right now to have as many as there are mineral patches, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect yet, because the higher we go, the less of such mistakes will be possible to do, because our opponents will be better. So now I will build Overlord speed. Probably I should make it even faster, but that's completely fine. Let me build another gas, because I can already tell that I'm gonna run out. I'm also stacking with my Mutalisk with Overlord. I also explained that in the Mutalisk micro guide. So yeah, I'm not gonna explain it again here. And let's look for some opportunities. Okay. Well, you know, those are... So, I'm just presenting you here the possibilities, what you can do with Mutalisk. I'm not gonna like go super into that. He has his defense anyway, but you know, we were able to kill some probes over here for free, so why not? StarCraft is generally a game where you will look for opportunities a lot, and that was such an opportunity. Oh, this gas is finished. Technically this gas is too late, because I should have more drones first, before I will be able to use it. Remember to leave Overlord everywhere, like at least 1. Okay, our opponent doesn't even have speed, so let's just attack him, because I think that we will bust this defense. Of course, you don't have to use Mutalisks. It's good to... it's Simba. It's good to preserve your Mutalisks basically as long as you can, because it will eventually force air defense from Protoss of any kind, right? Let's see the replay. Okay, so I think I'm starting to have a feel how those low rank ZVPs are gonna go. So as you can see, we are playing generally pretty slowly, methodically, and we are just going for the same thing every time, which is to get this 3 hatcheries, lair, then expand to your hatch count to 5, then go for second gas, Hydra then and Evo chamber. I'm not looking at my supply at all, pretty much, during this. It's all done by simply knowing what I'm going for. You don't need an exact build order to be able to execute this, you need to understand the bigger picture, the idea behind it. You need to know that you can easily support 5 hatcheries on 3 bases, that you need to have 1 drone per mineral patch. This is what is important. And then every time during the game, for example, you can come here and look how many drones are mining. So for example, now I'm mining with 8 drones, so I know that I should add 1 more drone over here, right? So this is not enough. This is probably already a mistake. Then I need to saturate this with 7 drones. And this as well, right? Yeah, this is also 7 mineral patches. So those are the important parts, not the supply count over here. Also, it's important to remember about this speedlink upgrade, because you want this to defend Zealots much easily. And in general, this upgrade is very important throughout the game for Zerg, because slow Zerglings are just not that good. This is essential for them, and very cheap as well, only 100. Yeah, so everything was smooth, except this one moment where I couldn't make 5 Mutalisks. And 5 Mutalisks are pretty essential because 5 times 9, which is the Mutalisk damage, is 45, which gives us the number needed to kill a probe. So then, when you are using Muta Micro with move command, you can select single probes and kill them in one shot. If you have 4 Mutalisks, then you are doing 36 damage and you are not killing them, like the probe in one hit, which is just very bad. It's not even worth to try to kill something. I still did it. In his natural I killed like 1 probe, I think. In a moment. We can fast forward to this moment because nothing is really happening. Yeah, so he also made a lot of cannons. Like, look how many cannons he made. Because he saw the spire. This is the problem with this rank, right? Like, people don't understand what's coming. Because he doesn't know the build, he thinks that I'm going for Mutalisks. But this building is just to make me feel comfortable versus Corsairs. That's generally the idea. If I saw the faster Corsair, I would make Scourges first to defend versus them, not Mutas right away. I'm making Mutas right away because I see no Corsair threat. If I saw that Corsair is pretty early, so for example Corsair would already start the Magic My Overlord before my Spire is finishing, then I will build Scourge, or 2 pair of Scourge usually, so up to 4 total, because they are making faster. And they provide you this very needed defense versus Corsair. And this is exactly the idea behind going Spire, is that this building, to be effective at what we want to achieve, which is defense versus Corsairs and Zealots, this is the most efficient larva building, because Scourges and Mutas can deal very well with both Corsairs in low amounts and Zealots. And you need like 5 Mutalisks to be able to defend a lot of Zealots, right? Because you don't need to spend so much larva, you can get drones instead, or Zerglings in case you need to defend versus Zealots, like versus early Zealots. I'm pretty sure we're gonna run into like fast Zealot builds on higher ranks. For now, as you can see, our opponents are not very good with builds, so I cannot really present you the full power of this build. Yeah, but it's very good to learn from the bottom, because by the time we are on higher ranks, we already will know what we are going for. I won't have to explain every aspect of it, and I will be able to focus a little bit, because like I said, I'm not that good of a Zerg. But I understand the concept more or less, and that's what we'll be going for. Okay, and rest of the game is pretty much like the next important time for Protoss is that he needs to be able to survive the Hydras that are coming from 5 hatch. And to do that, you either need a lot of cannons, and a lot of zealots, or storm, which he doesn't have any of that, right? So I will fast forward a little bit as well. And here he's already getting robotics because he's scared of lurkers probably. But look, we are already attacking and his storm is very, very far away from being done. So normally at this timing, good Protoss will already have like 4 Templars with storm, or a lot of cannons with a lot of zealots, depending on the build he went for, because sometimes they are going for very fast high Templars, or but sometimes they are going for a lot of zealots early. And of course, when they are going for a lot of zealots, then the Templars are naturally delayed and they need more cannons. But those are like nuances at this point, doesn't really matter that much. It matters that you can execute what we want properly. Okay, that's it. Crazy VT. That's his rank. That's gonna be epic throughout the series, I feel. Okay. So in this matchup, we're gonna play 12 Hatch. I don't know if... Did we play 12 Hatch already in the last episode? I don't remember. Anyway, we're gonna play 12 Hatch because this is like the most principled way of playing. And I know that some of the things related to 12 Hatch are just hard. Like defending Aatrox, for example. But we're gonna kind of learn together how to do that. I know the general concept is just a matter of whether we can execute the micro properly. Yeah. And 12 Hatch in ZVT is pretty good. So we should certainly go for it. So now we are not going for the pull over here, right? We are waiting for our Overlord to spawn, then we're gonna go for 3 more drones, and only then we're gonna place our first building, which is hatchery. So we are not doing any boosting, nothing like that. We don't need it. We don't need to care about it. We need to think about what we want to achieve, build-wise, strategy-wise. Okay, so I'm sending this SCV drone a little bit faster. And as you can see, it's almost perfectly on time. So it's better to send this drone a little bit earlier than one of those that are spawning after you make them after Overlord. Okay, now spawning pool on 11. And now the next step to remember is to go 2 more drones. Actually 3 more drones, because at 13 we're gonna place another hatcher. We're gonna play 3 hatchery build. This Overlord technically might be running into him. Okay. Is he gonna go tech opening? Seems like so. No. Okay, this is wall but without gas. Something very strange. Put this gas down a little bit earlier. Actually, that was a mistake. So we saw the CC that he made, right? Make another drone. And Overlord. And now let's put 1 link after him and 1 over here to be able to scout. And again, let's see how many drones we have there. 8. So we need 1 more, right? That's pretty straightforward. We're building Overlord over here, so we can go for more drones. I keep saying SCV, but I mean drone, of course. And now lair. So the lair is late, because I should put down my gas faster. Okay, and this link will tell us when we need to build more more when we need to start making sunkens, basically. Let's put one already. Put this overlord over here. Make another overlord. So for now, you only need one sunken in this matchup because Terran cannot really bust one sunken early because Marines are too weak to fight one sunken. Sunken is very powerful versus Marine early, but of course, if he goes for Marine Meditech attack, we will need to make more. Make Spire. Okay. Let's be careful over here. Link speed. Only 3 Marines though. Yeah, I'm not sure what build is he going for. Could be some kind of tech opening. Let's see whether he has second gas already. No. Doesn't confirm anything. So I'm afraid of something like vultures running by right now. Okay, it's over 300. Yeah, that's a problem because now we don't know how much stuff he has. So let's just add, just to be safe, let's add 2 more Sunkens. That first link we lost is pretty problematic because, okay, scanner. We saw the scanner, which usually means that he's not making any form of like tech opening, but also doesn't have to be 100% accurate. Let's make Mutas. We want 9 with this build. I'm still learning the exact gas timing, so it has to be done even quicker than that. Okay, so we're gonna have 9 Mutas, and when the Mutas are out or about to be out, you send drone to expand somewhere. Because this is how we play this matchup. You need another expansion. Generally, Zerg, when playing versus Terran, especially versus Bio, is very gas reliant. Your units are costing gas, and yeah, you need a lot of it. So now let's put down the Hydra then. Okay, and let's do some damage with Mutas, maybe, if he allows for that. With this hatchery. When you have 3 larvas like that and you have supply block, it's very often worth to... Let's stack our Mutas. And here... If you can park your Mutas like that above the barracks, it's actually pretty powerful. Let's make another Sunken because I feel like, okay, he's going back. So here you can use some micro to practice. So I'm using hold position right now versus Marines. It's pretty good usually. Yeah, so this is hold. Without medics, Marines are very... That was move command, for example. Let's make Hydras to be able to morph them into lurkers. This is my F4 right now. And yeah, we're going for more we look for opportunities to make some damage. That's why Mutas are so good. They are so oppressive. Those Marines should be pretty close to dying because he's teamed without medics. That was move micro to kill the medics, for example. And of course I know that F rank is not gonna be able to do these moves, and they are like more advanced. But this is what we are you need to eventually learn that. That's why I'm showing why this is so important for Zerg to learn the micro. And as a Terran, you should never fight Mutas like that. Yeah, look how broken this is when someone doesn't defend properly. Like, and now we can send all of our units pretty much to attack. I'm also gonna make Hydra speed. Let's make more Hydras. And this base only makes drones, pretty much only drones. And your priority is to get the gas right now. You need 30 gas. When your Overlord goes like that, just send him back. I have Mutas on 1 with the Overlord. I shift click deselect the Overlord, select the another one, and we can attack. Yeah, so this game was won just by Muta Micro, and that's why it's so important for Zergs to learn the Muta Micro, because it's so oppressive and so important skill as a Zerg to learn. Let's see the replay. Like I said, on this rank, probably if you are on this rank, you won't be able to micro with your Mutalisk like that. But that's why I made the last video about the Mutalisk micro, and that's why I also put those maps in my Discord and etc. So you can start practicing. And learning how to Muta micro is probably the most important skill that Zerg has, because a lot of the Zergs are not even good with strategy or builds or anything like that. A lot of the Zergs that are on B rank, maybe even A rank, that only excel at Muta micro. Mutalisk micro can be the only thing you know well from Zerg and still reach higher ranks, because you basically can grind those unwinnable games with mutas, or you can go completely all in. So you can go for this build but only make mutas, and then you micro and exchange the wounded ones for new ones you make, and etc. and you cycle Mutalisk. That's also valid strategy. From the Terran perspective, I was talking about this when I was playing Terran. You can never put your barracks like that, like this guy did. The idea over here is that there should be turrets over here protecting this area, the ramp specifically, and the barracks should be positioned next to them. That's why in this case the wall is not helping you at all. The wall is only good if you're going for some kind of tech opening, but it's pretty bad if you're going for marines, because it just makes your life harder instead of easier. And so he was hiding his marine count, which is that's pretty good that he was hiding that, because I was uncertain about what's coming, right? So maybe having Overlord and just sacrifice it for the information would be okay. Probably not, but in case of 3 hatch it's a little bit different. With 2 hatchery openings you are getting your information a little bit faster. Yeah, so he made the anti-air defense, but he forgot to also make turrets over here. Another mistake he did was that he didn't make medics immediately, which he should, and then he had to fight me without medics. So that's terrible, because every time you steam marines, Mutalisks have such an easier time killing them when they go from 40 to 30 to 20 HP, right? And I didn't pay attention, but when he was going up the ramp, this is perfect opportunity to hit with the mutas. Yeah, so that situation like that is game over usually in TVZ on higher level, because Zerg will grind you down with Mutalisk if there are no turrets nearby. The turrets are not even doing that much damage. It's 20, but it's 10 because Mutalisk is a small unit. It only receives half the damage from the turret. But the important part about this is that turrets have big range. They have 7 range, so when marines are near turrets, Mutalisk can never poke for free, can never deal damage for free, and that's the important part about the turrets. Yeah, so generally it wasn't even that bad for him, because he had the same anti-air, but he should have more anti-air here or here. Yeah. So those marines are all red already, and now it's pretty rough. Okay, and from the Zerg perspective, of course, what I'm going for is Carapace upgrade. This is very good, Carapace in general, because if you reach late game, then Ultralisks are so insanely good versus Terran that setting up for them from the very beginning of the game is very good. Some strategies don't even go for any kind of lurkers or anything like that. They just go straight to Mutalisk and then Ultralisk. So you go Queen's Nest, Hive, Ultralisk. And while researching the armor upgrade, because with armor, Marines cannot deal effectively versus Ultras. Very important part of the whole build, whole idea of Zerg in general in this matchup is that Zerg on 2 geysers is very weak versus Terran. Can do some all-ins, but you cannot fight head-on. So like 2 base versus 2 base, Zerg is losing by a lot. 3 base versus 2 base is kind of equal, even. This is to the fact, by the way, that Marine is very powerful and costs only minerals. That's why Zerg is so weak versus Terran on even amount of geysers, because the minerals units are so good for Terrans compared to Zergling. Zergling is not that good versus Terran early on. It's good later on when you have cracklings and upgrades, but not early. Early it's like more of a mid shield, I would say. So for example, Mutalisk plus Zerglings are very good combination, or Zergling plus Lurkers, pretty good as well. But still, Marines generally dominate the mid game in this matchup. So our next step is to go for third base. I will, in this series, play Hydra Lurker in the mid game a lot, because I think that's it's not the best strategy for higher ranks, but I think it teaches macroing with Zerg pretty well. So it teaches how to spend money, how to build economy, etc. Because very many people nowadays go for 2 Hatch Mutalisks into some kind of very early hive tech, specifically defilers, and then they defend on Lurker Defiler, going for ultras. But I don't want to do that, because I would like to build better fundamentals for Zerg in the series. So like going for economy and understanding the saturation and stuff like that. That's why I chose this build, and I will stick with it for now at least. Maybe we'll change it later, but for now we will use it. So our next step is to upgrade the Hydra speed and range. Notice this is different from ZVP, because in ZVP we rely on Hydras more at the beginning, and we research Hydra upgrades first and then Lurkers. Here it's the other way around. First Lurkers, then Hydras. And from here we would go for even maybe another Evo Chamber after we get third gas, maybe more bases. You don't even necessarily have to pick another main as your base. You can pretty much put it down whenever else you want when you are playing this style, because you will be fighting Terran anyway. It's not like you will be defending on very few units like Zergs do nowadays, and they pick those bases because the ramp is very easy to defend. We will have a lot of units, so we can also pick this base, for example. That's completely fine, because then we will fight Terran anyway, head on. But in this game, Muta Micro was enough, and then we followed it up with Lurker attack, which usually finishes the game. If Terran cannot get out from base up until the time the Lurkers are here, the game is usually over, because if they don't have tanks or vessels, there is nothing they can do versus Lurkers, right? Because Marines cannot get out from Lurker contain. Okay, so that's it. DVT again. Okay, I don't need to show my MMR again. Doesn't matter that much. So we will go for the same thing. What is this map? Okay, knockout, good. So we are going in the correct direction with Overlord. Remember about this larva trick you can do? So if I select Overlord with larva and press stop, then start moving my Overlord again, the larva will go to the left side. That's pretty nice thing of get this a little bit more minerals, right? Because our drone will be able to mine faster. Doesn't matter that much though. You don't have to use it, but why not? You don't have anything else to do, and it's easy. You cannot screw up anything. Okay, I can see that I am not mining correctly, so this drone should be here. Okay, so that was a big mistake, for example. That should never be done. Oof, wait. Okay, I didn't make Overlord. Okay, we'll figure something out. Let's go for Overpool then, because nothing else makes sense, I guess. So our overlord will be late, but our pull timing will be normal. We will not lose any larva. Okay, so I guess we'll improvise a little bit in this game. Won't change much though. Yeah, so one of our drones is a little bit delayed, but it's not a big deal. So overpull is good. I made too many drones over here, by the way. Overpull is good when you are facing Atrax, because then you have links available to defend you, right? Yeah, but usually you should leave 3 larvas there. Okay, let's make our 4 links. Still not sure whether he is here, because I'm still not assuming anything on this rank. I feel like anything can happen. Is he here? No. So we'll go... Oh, okay, he is actually. Okay, let's go back with the drone and we'll send those 4 links to him. I'm not expecting to deal any damage because we only made 4 links, but who knows, maybe. So I like to put my hatchery like that, next to my main hatchery, but it's not the best way. I'm telling you right away. This is not the best way to position your hatchery because you can hide your tank when this hatchery is somewhere else, for example here, and then Terran has 3 positions to scan. Okay, so in case of something like that, you just target the SCV. Okay, I don't know what happened here. Are we gonna win with just 4 links? That would be crazy. Okay, we will have a vulture, right? So let's wait a little bit. And then we're gonna make Sunken. And let's make lair ASAP. I also did a mistake over here because I should make my lair before the Overlord, but I made the Overlord first, so now this is delayed. Shouldn't be like that. But it's fine still. Not a major mistake, but mistake nonetheless. Okay, now I selected my drones. I see I have 7 Overlords, so I need 2 more over here, obviously. At least 2 more, right? Because we also gonna make Spire here, and then later on Evo Chamber or Hydralisk then, so... You know... This should be kept... Right. Okay, now let's make speedlings. I did it in mouse, you should never do that, by the way. Okay, and now I will make like few links, like 4, to hold my ramp, because what I'm afraid of is speed vultures running into my base. And another thing is that I will make Hydroden now, because we don't know what's coming. Out of the opening that Terran is making, he can go for several different things, and some of them are very unpleasant, so for example Vulture Drop or Raves. Hydras, when you're playing 3-hatch opening, are essential to defend those. You don't need Hydras if you play 2-hatch openings, because then mutas are fast enough, but not in this case. So we'll make like 2 Hydras when Overlord finishes. Yeah, this is not efficient at all, by the way. I'm not very happy how I play this game, but it will be fine. So now I'm not gonna make more anything because I want to save for my Mutalisks. We'll send 1 link for scouting. So now my spire is done. Hey, no expo. Okay, our opponent is playing something weird. From my experience, what beats it is simply just making as many mutalisks as you can will probably be good versus what he does. So now we have our 7 mutalisks. So remember how I said like you need 5 mutalisks to kill probes? You need 7 to kill SCV. That's why 7 mutalisks is kind of essential versus Terran. Let's send our drone first to another base, and now we can focus on doing some damage if possible. Okay, he's playing very defensively. I will start making this upgrade. But like I said, going for more mutas is the most practical choice from my experience, because mutalisks are actually not that bad versus Goliaths. Which is weird, because Goliath is anti-air unit, right? But it is like that. We're looking for opportunities. If he's gonna want to expand, we'll try to make it harder for him. We'll try to hit where there are no turrets. He still doesn't have Goliath range. Oh, he barely started his machine shop. Micro. So now what I'm doing is I make mutas for every gas I have and links for the rest. We can even bring these hydras. You can put overlords away. Bind this to F4. And now I'm gonna send this to attack. Make more overlords. So those links are already set on attack, right? So I need to coordinate with those links. Yeah, like that. I think we have enough. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so Mutalisk are just pretty good versus Goliaths in general. That's why we're able to kill him like that. Okay, let's watch the game. We made this mistakenly because I forgot about the Overlord because of the talk, I guess. But we transitioned into Overpool opening, which is worse economically, but is better versus some allies, and we even managed to do some like small damage to him with those first 4 links, so it was fine. Opening was fine in the end, but nothing crazy, obviously, and you should generally not forget your build. That would be great. So what he did was some kind of tech opening, some weird one. Let's see his factory timing. The factory should start at 2:30, so this factory is more than 15 seconds late. I would say that's normal for this level, because I remember when I was playing Terran series, also people were just doing non-builds all the time. Like, people do some non-builds, and you will win games on this MMR regardless of your race if you just make anything logical. Anything logical plus a little bit of unit control, so you don't sacrifice your units. If you can do those things, you will win almost every game at this rank. Yeah, I would say that's the most important. Do some logical build, copy build from somewhere, use what I use, or copy anything from the internet pretty much. That makes sense. You can ask around, there are many discords. And start executing it more or less properly. Even if you make mistakes, doesn't matter that much. Those people make far more mistakes. Yeah, so look at positioning of this factory, for example. Doesn't make sense at all, right? Why would you put it here? I think he's gonna fly to here later. We are not even starting our armory yet. And we are playing versus Zerg, so we need Goliaths. Yeah. I think he's gonna fly. Yeah, so nothing makes sense here, right? So that's the problem with those ranks. So to get out of F, you just need to start making anything that makes sense, and you will win. So from my perspective here, I made this Hydralisk then and two Hydras because first of all, there might be some Vulture drop, which those two Hydras, by the way, won't be able to defend comfortably, but at least you have something to shoot with, right? And the same with Wraiths. If Wraith comes to kill your Overlords, at least you have those two Hydras to protect them until the Mutalisks are out. So that's why I put down the Hydralisk then earlier than normal, because that was the response to seeing Factory and Gas opening. Yeah, and then we wait for Spire, make as many mutas as possible at the beginning. It should be 9. By the way, I think, yeah, my build is still not refined, but also the Hydra then screwed it up a little bit, right? We had less gas. But with 7 Mutalisk is fine to attack Terran. He put a lot of... Yeah, so the theme for now is people put down a lot of defenses, static defenses. Like the first Protoss today made a lot of cannons, then the second Terran actually also made static defense, just not next to his barracks, and now this guy is also making a lot of turrets again, and not units, because he's supply blocked. Yeah, so we have more drones. This is always very bad sign in any, like Protoss or Terran versus Zerg. When they play, they want more workers than Zerg, because usually this is how it goes. If Zerg has more workers than Protoss or Terran, the game is already kind of lost. So of course you don't need to engage anywhere. Like him not having this expansion is already such a big disadvantage that we are winning on 2 bases versus 1 easily. On top of that, Mutalisks are really good versus Goliaths in general, like in straight up fight. Goliaths are good in defending while supported by turrets or when there is critical mass. But Mutalisk um, is just pretty well suited to fight Goliaths because it only takes half the damage. Again, Goliaths shoots for 20, but it only deals 10 damage to the Mutalisk. So that's why Mutalisks are so good versus Goliaths. So as long as your opponent is not going for like Valkyries or Vessels, you can actually only make Mutalisk and it will work. This is how it goes. You can spend all the gas for Mutalisk upgrades and Mutalisk and it will just work. In the meantime, of course, this base is very important. Like I said, you want your third gas versus Terran. In this case, you don't even need to rush the third gas, although if your plan is to get a lot of mutas, then you should still get it. If you would go for Hydras, which is also viable versus mech, then you need more minerals, right? Because you need to look at the ratio. Like 1 mutalisk in 100 gas, 100 minerals, so you need a lot of gas, because gas is normally mined at slower rate than minerals. But if you go for Hydras, then Hydras cost 75 minerals and 25 gas, so it's 3 to 1. So in this case, you need a lot of minerals than gas, right? That's pretty logical. So you need to adjust your economy to your plan. And the final attack is... I felt he cannot have enough. I was kind of judging the numbers. So probably on 12 Mutalisk would be what's here, but if you have other units, it's only getting easier, right? So I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, see you next time.